everybody, and welcome back to the Zeldudes podcast.
In this one, we're going to be talking about leaks, specifically the Ocarina of Time remake. And for this one, we thought, why not have this conversation with someone who knows this topic pretty well about, fake leaks and this kind of, rumors being spread around. That being Sir Musti. Nice to have you on.
Sir Musti? Oh my god, guys, did you know this Ocarina of Time's how big do you think the map's gonna be? Do you think it's gonna be like big, mega big, or giant big? Like, let's get some real speculation. 10 videos. You do 10 videos on your channel, you do 10 videos on yours, I'll do 10 videos. Let's get the slop train rolling. How are we doing, lads?
Let's do it.
How are we?
But yeah,
welcome to the show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Obviously,
before we get into the quagmire, the swamp of leak culture. As with everyone we have on this show, we like to quiz you on your Zelda opinions, basically. Judge you for what kind of a Zelda.
That's how we judge you. For those who don't know you well,
the tourist
they can get an idea.
Let's go. Okay, I'm ready.
Don't worry, there's surface
level. So the one we
level.
always start off with.
Yeah.
We always start off with first Zelda game. What got you into Zelda? What was the first one you ever played?
The first one I played, unfortunately, was Ocarina of Time 3D. I say unfortunately because I remember hearing, because and listen, I'm starting off controversial already. Eh? It's just like me, I'm on brand. But it was one of those games where, and I'm not sure how old you guys are, but I'm 31. So if there was any more discourse that was massive in the 2000s, it was there's Jesus Christ and then there's Ocarina of Time, right? I'm sure you guys saw plenty of this growing up. So of course, when the lead up to the 3DS came out, and I was told it wasn't even like as an opinion, it was a matter of fact. Best game ever made, launched for the 3DS. Oh, shimmin', successful console. Amazing how the 3DS started out, right? But so I bought it thinking, with my expectations reasonably high, and then of course, there's no way with all the this church of Ocarina of Time that I was going to think the game is the 10, 11, 12 out of 10 I was going to be. I don't think it's a solid enough game, but I obviously don't think that it's the masterpiece that I was led on to believe. So obviously I do like to playfully slander on my corner of the internet, but obviously I'm going to behave myself here. But after that I did play Twilight Princess, and I enjoyed that one way more, personally.
Really?
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. I just enjoyed that way more as a kid. I think it was just like, as a kid, it's as simple as, this game's 3D and I get to waggle the Wii remote. I love people like to jank on the motion controls in that Wii era, but I loved it. I love it so much. So being able to slice a sword like that was just very, very fun for me. So I played Twilight Princess, loved that to bits. And then of course, I think the one that got me proper into it was the one that, the giant Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course, that's the one that swept the world at one point, to the point where you couldn't even see a grassy field without everyone saying, "Oh, is that Breath of the Wild reference? Oh my god, Breath of the Wild! It's giving me Breath of the Wild vibes." And that was basically me. I'm not going to pretend. I'm basically quoting me. That was me at the time because I fell in love with that game. The idea of really just being able to explore, like having a game that truly was just like, you can just go. And getting into that mindset just really made me fall in love with everything to do with Zelda. I actually love that game to bits. I think I've said it's like one of my two favorite games of all time. The other being Metroid Dread. So that's how much I highly laud Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So you prefer?
It's interesting to because we Luke and I, our first game was Ocarina of Time as well. But it's
not
interesting.
3D. Not 3D.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's interesting hearing from someone who kind of got into, started playing Ocarina of Time after, like you say, it had become this Titan that you can't. If someone says, I liked Ocarina of Time, but the controls are a bit clunky, it's you just slandered Ocarina of Time. Same with Mario 64, and like the camera's a bit weird in that game, isn't it? It's like, but like
those games were untouchable back in the day. Untouchable games.
But then it's interesting from like your perspective, where it came out. Like, was it the same month or like a month either side of Skyrim? Which, from your perspective, not having played Zelda before, that must have been really weird to compare.
Yeah, because like at the time, at the time, obviously I had a PS3, so I'm obviously playing like those kinds of games,
Yeah.
So obviously I had handhelds my whole life, so I'm used to like the fidelity downgrade. But I played Borderlands 2. I played like a bunch of Call of Duty games. I played a little bit of Skyrim. I didn't proper get into it, but I played, when we're playing those kinds of games, and I play the best thing since sliced bread according to 2000's Ocarina of Time discourse, I was only ever going to be disappointed. It's still a solid game, but as I said, I do like to make fun of it for the fun of it.
What's more interesting is So you're the same age as me, and similar age to Ed, yet you missed out on Ocarina of Time as a kid, played it as
I had a
3.
PlayStation, that's why. Unfortunately, I had a PlayStation 1, not an N64.
I see.
I didn't get into Nintendo proper until I had a GameCube, which was one generation after. So I missed the N64 entirely.
I wonder if that would have influenced your decision making and made it differently based on like how much you appreciate Ocarina of Time if you had played it when you were a kid.
I would have had the same background as you if I played. If I had an
you would have
N64.
been a Zelda. You would have, you know, all about Zelda, baby.
I would have been. I would have taken the channel name Zelda Master before you ever got your hands to it. That's all I would have done.
That's it. You'd have been unable.
It would have been a Zeldude. Would have been a 3 Zeldudes. Yeah. That's the alternate universe. But I had a PlayStation 1, so while you guys were playing Ocarina, I was probably playing like Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, Abe's Odyssey, all that jazz.
Yeah. Because Luke, you were PlayStation as well, right? When you were a kid, or was that something you got into later?
Me? Luckily my mom was a gamer, so we got to kind of experience everything. Yeah, I had an Xbox. I played Fable. I grew up playing Fable as well. I called it the adult Zelda. So, you know, I really dabbled around all sorts of games growing up. Nintendo still.
So your mom was a game. Hang on, Ed, was your mom a game? Were your parents gamers as well?
Kind of. My dad's always been into games, and my mum not as much, except Super Mario 64. Like that music, for some reason, I always say it's kind of like woven into my subconscious, because my parents used to like just put me in a chair in the corner of a room in a non-neglectful way, let me add, and just play Super Mario 64, and like. Obviously, like old Zelda music's so nostalgic for me, old RuneScape music, but there's something about Mario 64 music that just kind of cuts deep to like the core of my being. And I think it's because I was just placed there in front of it when I was a kid, just absorbing it. That's why I've just been unable to grow up, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, your background ain't as gauche as Zelda Master, so
That's not quite as good.
Not quite as good, but yeah. But it's really interesting, because like, the more YouTubers I speak to, the more I'm realizing that, like, because growing up, the universal experience where, like, our parents hated us playing games, right? Yeah, they had to turn that damn console on. But then I'm getting you two here, and I'm just like, we were practically, like, my rite of passage was the N64. It's always fascinating to hear that, honestly, it really is.
Yeah.
All the differences.
It's funny because
it's kind of a generational curse thing, because Luke and I have both just had kids, you know, like a couple of months apart, and now we're wondering how to pass on this affliction onto our kids. Yeah, exactly.
They're the mark. They're gonna look at the back of their hand like, oh god damn it.
Yeah. Sorry, Luke, I cut you off.
Born to play Fortnite, forced to play Zelda.
I mean, like,
that's gonna be quite interesting.
No, I'm gonna make sure my kid plays the Game Boy Advance. Literally, I modded a backlit one, so they won't.
That's sick.
They don't have to suffer like I did, and look for lights in the corner or whatever. But like, at least he's gonna be limited to just one game at a time. Because even the Switch is too much for a little kid, dude. Especially if you go on the eShop and you search, certain words, I mean, like, no quality control. Yeah, it's bad.
We know about the eShop.
Yeah, but it's funny. I was
very
mentioning to you that Sully is my brother. We both kind of grew up playing games, and he focused more on Mario. This is not, for those who don't know, Sully Pones. I feel like every time I mention it, someone in the comments is like, "What? You and Sully are brothers?" But because we didn't go out of our way to mention it. But my mom also, she was so much of a gamer, she even had a YouTube channel. I feel like I should put that little info.
Really?
Yeah, Loki. If you search up Loki Shams. But she was more into like God of War, Skyrim. And she's done lots of videos, like literally, and she 100%ed all those games. Like she's very committed, so like that's kind of where we.
So we got like a family of gamers.
Yes,
we got the Mario side.
All my brothers are YouTubers. They all make.
I'm just imagining various doors in the house. Like one's got like the Mario hat, one's got the Zelda Triforce, and the other's got like the PlayStation logo. And then there's Dan with the Xbox in the garage, but he's obviously got cobwebs over it because Xbox is dead. We all know that. But that's really funny. Completely opposite of my upbringing, because my mom was like turn a damn console off all the time. So I had to earn these stripes to game. I did.
No, I guess I did get lucky. I will say that, because when I do hear stories from other people, it's like, I guess I was a lot more fortunate that my whole family was super into games. That's kind of what brought us together. So that's what I plan on passing to my kid. I know Ed does plans the same. I'm assuming you're gonna do the same. This is a new, like, we live in a new generation. Gaming is so mainstream now that it feels like, it's a way of bonding with your kid, bonding with people.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, screw Disney. Nintendo's the Disney of today, right? They got theme parks. They're
the new Disney, okay? We're the new Nintendo adults, okay?
We are, dude. Look at my room. I am a Nintendo
Come on now,
adult.
come on. Look, listen, mine's the best one because I
can
can
put it.
green in anything
Yeah.
I want. I can be a Fire Emblem fan if I want. I could LARP as a Xenoblade fan. It's perfect. I could be all of the Nintendo fans at once. It's perfect.
That's it. Just copy Luke's background, but add a few more consoles to one up him. And there you go.
I might do a PS1 in the corner like, hey, you see that?
I got a PS1. Actually, I got every PlayStation console. Got 1 to 5. Okay.
Hey,
So how
prepared,
am I supposed to play? Do I get like a 3DO or something like really obscure? Do I try something like that? I might have to. I'll think about it. Me and Ed will talk about it after, don't worry.
We'll
But
come
yeah,
up with a plan.
I think on the topic of getting our kids into games, I think it's one of those things where, obviously I think, and I'm almost certain one of you guys have said this, so I'm calling one of you guys out. I'm almost certain the common mantra is like, games these days are so, we're going to get them on the old stuff, the old and good stuff. And it's like, don't get me wrong, you're laughing, so it's about you.
Yeah.
It's about you. So don't get me wrong, I definitely want to do that too. I definitely want to get them on the classics. But I think at the same time, I don't want my kid going into school and being like, everyone's talking about Fortnite 2, and they're like, yeah, I played Minish Cap on the Game Boy Advance. Does anyone play that? Like, no one knows about that, nerd. So it's like, you kind of have to drive a balance of like, they want to keep in touch with like what's trending at the time so they can have those core memories along with everyone in their generation while also playing the classics. I think you got to like marry the two.
You've got to find a balance. Because like we've talked before about like iPads or giving your kid screen time or whatever like that. And like, again, it might sound naive now because we don't have kids at that age yet, but you can sympathise maybe with parents who kind of give their kid an iPad or whatever. But we've both agreed that we don't really want to do that if we can avoid it. But we need our kids to grow up to be tech literate to just function in the world. They need to know how to use a smartphone, sort of thing. So yeah, like anything, you got to find a balance.
Yep.
Definitely, which is getting harder and harder in this world. But hey, you got to find it somehow. I trust the pair. If there's two that I trust, it's the pair of you. You guys will get it done just fine. I don't doubt that.
We'll see. Yeah.
So I guess you kind of
we'll
answered the next question, which would have been your favorite Zelda game, right? Breath of the Wild's it, right? Hands down.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what about Tears of the
hands
Kingdom?
down,
Curious, because Ed and I have kind of like a, we both have our own opinion on those games. I prefer Tears of the Kingdom more.
I actually haven't played too much of Tears of the Kingdom. I think when I started playing it, I think I realized. I think it's the problem. I think that I was going to have the same problem with Tears of the Kingdom that I had with Bowser's Inside Story. The thing with Bowser's Inside Story, Mario Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, is I think that is a phenomenal Mario RPG. Fantastic. To the point where when I started playing Dream Team Bros, the sequel, when I was younger, I hated it. But then having played it again as an adult, I hated it because I was holding it to the expectations of Bowser's Inside Story, which is a game so good. It's like I don't think it was ever going to top it. So when I replayed it as an adult, I enjoyed it all for all it's worth. Obviously, still don't think it holds up candles to that, but I was never comparing it to that since it'd been so long since I played it. The thing with Tears of the Kingdom is, from what I was hearing online and just like from my own thoughts, I'm just like, I'm going to this thinking, is it going to give me the same like wow that Breath of the Wild has? And I think that's just unfair to the game. So I'm kind of waiting for like that Breath of the Wild feeling, which is still very much in my bones, to kind of die down first, and then I want to give it a try. So I'm like, okay, I can appreciate it for what it is, which is pretty much a direct sequel, like more the same, just with like extra things on top, as opposed to me thinking I'm going to get that insane like childlike wonder feeling I got from the original. So I haven't really played too much of it, but from what I have played, it definitely seems interesting. It seems like the sequel that should have been a sequel years ago, but unfortunately wasn't. That's what it seems like it should have been. What are you guys' thoughts on? I'm actually curious.
So we kind of differ, like, and we our opinions change on it all the time. Luke's generally more positive on it than I am.
But I came around.
We both love the game. It's still true.
I wasn't at first. It took me some time, but no, Ed. Like I think because we both went into this expecting, like you said, this is it. This is the sequel to Breath of the Wild, the best thing since sliced bread. Like nothing comes close to Breath of the Wild, right? And then getting just more of that with more on top and below was a huge letdown, and it caused, I mean, when you look at like the trajectory of Tears of the Kingdom's popularity compared to Breath of the Wild, it died out within less than 6 months. Literally content, people, online discourse, all of that, none of it really existed after the first 6 months. And Breath of the Wild was like up and down for 3+ years because it was the first of its kind. So I think everyone felt that way.
And weirdly,
go ahead.
Yeah, like weirdly with Tears of the Kingdom, it's kind of like an anti-sequel in some ways. Whereas if you have like, I don't know, like Oblivion, like the more you play Oblivion, when Skyrim comes out, the more you'll appreciate Skyrim, sort of thing. But like there was a load of people, obviously Luke and I included, that when Tears of the Kingdom was on the horizon, played Breath of the Wild, either as like a special playthrough to get ready for Tears of the Kingdom, or just because we'd make content on it or whatever. But either way, if you just finish playing Breath of the Wild, then go immediately into Tears of the Kingdom, you get this like overwhelming kind of, it's even stronger than deja vu. It's just kind of like boredom from the repetition of being in the same world again, and like,
Yep.
you know, because Breath of
Same
the Wild is
gameplay
designed
loop.
about,
Shrines.
yeah, it relies on the player, you know, organically choosing somewhere to go and going, oh, what's that? That looks interesting. I'll go and explore that. And you don't get the same sense of exploration the second time around in the same
You don't
world.
have the same wonder
In
because
the
it's literally
same
like
world.
Other than the
Yeah.
up and down, it's basically the same
Yeah.
place.
Right.
So if anything,
again,
for
it's the
you-
exact trap I was avoiding. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
literally what I was trying to avoid.
Taking a break and then going into Tears of the
Is the
Kingdom, I'm
safest.
sure you'll love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm gonna
And
love
that's-
it. Yeah, it's one of those things where I just kind of want to wait for the right time.
Yep.
What were you saying?
And
Zelda?
that's exactly what I did essentially. So like I
Oh, okay.
didn't even touch it for about a year, ish. You know, like barely really touched it. I know that's not a lot, but that was just enough for me to kind of, when the Switch 2 edition came out, kind of reset things. I literally started playing it from the beginning of last year, like a second playthrough. And when the Switch 2 version came out, it just made it even better because you being able to use your phone as a Sheikah Slay. And as someone who wanted to 100% the game, I was able to 100% it so much easier with the Korok seeds, real-time updating and everything. And it just made me appreciate like this whole second life the game had, because I knew a lot of people who didn't even want to play the game because the game was running on a Switch 1 and it looks abysmal. Like, you know, that shouldn't be the latest Zelda game being barely 1080p, dipping below 60 all the time. You're just very inconsistent.
Yeah.
Pop-ins, everything.
Yeah.
The Switch 2 does definitely make it so much better. So I feel like that also kind of just gave it a fresh coat of paint that was missing from its initial release. Like, let's be real, this game, I wonder if Nintendo had waited for it to be just a Switch 2 only, would have maybe the online perception
I think
been
it might
better?
have affected its perception. I think it definitely would have fared a bit better. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
because if
okay.
anything, like I remember Moist Critical, like obviously like gigantic YouTuber, did a Tears of the Kingdom review, and it was like it was basically completely positive except for it's on the Switch and it shouldn't be on the Switch.
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
that was like
Especially
you know,
with like that was the first game they did the newer price point, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
right.
you know,
So
you
people
get
were
a newer
expecting
price
more.
point, same console. You're like,
Yeah.
it was bound to sting people. On top of the fact that it's more direct sequel instead of reimagining, it just had bad PR, which is like Nintendo's mantra these days, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah.
So you think about it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Luke, were you gonna say something, sorry?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, just to add, I like, yeah, no, I mean, I guess that was the biggest issue with Tears of the Kingdom in general, is how like it kind of came and everyone just looked at it as DLC and nothing more, because it is so much more of the same. And had Nintendo just, I mean, because Zelda in general, every single entry, at least the 3D mainline ones, they're so much different than one another. So Nintendo giving us something so much more of the same, I think that was its downfall from the beginning. But again, if you were to just pretend Breath of the Wild never existed, bro, this is probably the greatest game of all time. But because Breath of the Wild exists, it hinders that, because it's like, this is just Breath of the Wild but more, and I think that takes away so much from
That's
it.
what I mean by anti-sequel. It's like a clunky term, but it kind of doesn't follow the same rules of normal sequels, where like
Yeah, well, it's
the redo.
I think it does kind of follow the rules of sequels. It's just, I think by Zelda standards, I think it's something that Zelda's just not used to, because it's never, other than what, the first one to the second game, Adventure of Link, they've
Yeah.
never really done that, have they? Like Ocarina to Wind Waker, or like Wind Waker to Twilight Princess, for example. Like they're just vastly different games, like in terms of presentation. Like, obviously you get that core Zelda game design, but like looks wise, like, you know, even like character wise, like it's all different interpretations.
Well,
Whereas
to
this
your
is just
point-
like, oh, we got like Breath of the Wild Link again, basically, except his arm's a bit funky, isn't it? So like, I
Yeah.
think in terms of like Zelda, like you guys just aren't like that used to it, which makes it, because I think that segues me into, I think Tears of the Kingdom, I think stop making them, let me try again. I think it made people forget what a sequel is supposed to be, because like if you go back, that's literally what a sequel is. It's you take the original, give it more of the bones, tweak some things, you know, screw some loose screws, and then you're golden. But that doesn't really work for a series like Zelda that tends to have like one big blowout game. So
Yeah.
it was always going to come across a bit underwhelming,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
And of course, because Nintendo famously is not a good PR merchant, they weren't just going to be honest and go, this is more the same. And I think also the fact that it's, I think they did say it was a direct sequel. I think the length of time didn't help neither.
Yep.
I think
Right.
if this came out like
Yeah.
2 years after, I think it avoids a lot of the stick. But it came out way later than it should have. Price point was higher. It didn't really have the same like wow factor as the original did. It was always going to be like a bit
I
dead
think
on arrival.
honestly, I think GTA 6 and whatever the next Elder Scrolls is, they're doomed to. They're almost like set up to fail, sort of thing, just because it's been however long. It's like what 20 years since Elder
Oh,
Scrolls.
whoa, GTA 6.
When was
is not
GTA?
doomed
Like-
to fail. Relax.
I don't know.
I think
I think it will
No.
sell like a trillion, bazillion copies or whatever, but I think it's not going to be able to escape the we waited 20 years for this sort of thing. I think it's just inevitable.
I think it will because I trust Rockstar.
I think if there's one game that... So no, you go.
No, that's all I was going to say. Go ahead. Finish.
Okay, I was going to say, if there is one game that could, though, I think it's GTA 6. I know it will always be in the shadow of 5. If there is one game that could do it, though, it's Rockstar. Because I think Rockstar has this unbelievable track record of just knocking at the park regardless of how long it takes. But yeah, I think the example of Bethesda, I don't think they...
Well, exactly. No, Todd Howard, bro, the sauce is gone, man. He didn't have...
man, Starfield, I had such high hopes.
Tell me lies.
It's 16 times.
I think GTA 6 will be okay with it, but like no one else can really pull off like they did, for better for worse. I mean, considering the things that have come out of that company.
Let's not give Rockstar too much credit. The remakes, bruh, how is Rockstar behind? I know they didn't make the remakes, but how could they like greenlight that? The remakes for
the original, like the trilogy on the like modern console.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that launched in a dire state, didn't it?
Yeah,
I'm out of the loop on this. What was bad about it?
It was, I think they remade the first, not the first three, the PS2 era GTA game. So it was GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas for modern consoles. They gave it, a big touch-up sort of thing for modern day audiences. But yeah, some of the side-by-sides, it's weird when like you get a game that came in the modern era and yet the old one looks better. It was that kind of vibe. It's just like, yikes. Trust me, some of the comparisons, if you just quickly look it up, I don't know if you can do it on the fly or just on your own time, but it was bad.
I'm surprised.
I think you can vouch for that, can't you?
Yeah, I'm surprised, Ed, you don't know about this, because dude, literally, the remakes look like old school RuneScape. That's how
Well, let's go. I'd love it then.
Plasticky. No.
Hell yeah.
Not in a game like that. It is so bad. It's so lifeless. It is like the worst a remake could ever be. It literally looks worse than the original games, and it's just weird. Obviously, Rockstar isn't behind it. They hired like a third party to do it, but it's just it reminds me kind of like the Pokemon, Brilliant Diamond or Shining
Brilliant
Pearl.
Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Yeah,
that's the example I was going to use. Yeah, those
were like almost like
well.
D-makes. They feel like, because they just look worse. Like the pixel art was so much more refined and better, and yeah, it's just a shame when like these big companies outsource much smaller studios. And no shade, I mean, they should get their bag. I'm glad more studios are able to be able to work on IPs like this, but they're not equipped for it, sadly, and that's sadly the same issue. We need Grezo. We need Grezo to be working on this stuff.
But right? speaking of remakes, I guess.
Oh yeah.
How?
Perfect segue. I like that.
I was waiting for that. How are we all feeling about Ocarina of Time remake?
Yeah. Yo, Moosty.
Luke, do you want to start us off?
Moosty's the guest, and you were talking about how Ocarina of Time 3D. Actually, I genuinely want to know as well, as someone who played Ocarina of Time 3D first, do you feel like a remake is warranted? Because technically, you played the remake. Essentially, that is the remake.
Technically, I did. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where, firstly, when I heard it, I'm just kind of like, sure, but like, what direction could you possibly take this in? Because I don't know how you guys feel, but if you're asking for Ocarina of Time 3D, a remake of essentially just like the original game, just kind of scaled up, essentially, right? That sort of like, I guess it kind of brings back the traditional sort of Zelda design that some of the older fans probably really want. So I think bringing that to the modern light, maybe getting new fans up on board that sort of game design for when they do a new game that maybe melds both of them together or something. I think that can be good. I don't think it's nearly as exciting, but I think it just works. I think if they're going to take it into a radically different direction, I think that'd be interesting. I don't know what direction do they take. Do they take more Breath of the Wild inspirations? Do they maybe like just take the original formula and just like really ramp it up more? I don't know what they could. It's definitely interesting, is what I would say. Yeah. Obviously, I think we live in a world where, thankfully, I'm not going into it thinking it's the best thing since sliced bread, so I'd be able to give it more of the time of day. But it's definitely interesting. I do think if it's just like a straight remake and that's kind of it, I don't think that's going to interest me as much. I think it's good for the series, I guess, in that, as I said, brings new fans up to speed. But I think if they try something radically different with it, I think that's when I'll be intrigued. I don't know how do you guys feel, actually?
So, okay.
Yeah, Luke, do you want to start?
Sure. So one thing, I mean, kind of to go off of what you just said, like, if they were to completely redefine the game, then why are we even getting a remake? What's the point? Like, it just seems, but then if they were to give us the exact same game, then also what's the point? Honestly, I feel like the ship has sailed for an idea. Like, to me, it still feels so out there and not gonna actually happen, like, and if they were to do it, they have to like completely like what I was telling Ed before, and I really do, like, if we were to get a remake, this is the only way I want the remake to be. Not necessarily a full-on Square Enix Final Fantasy VII Trilogy remake type ordeal, but something in that vein to where it's not a trilogy, just one giant game. Nintendo doesn't need to split up in 3, but something that feels like...
I actually never thought about that. That could be fascinating.
Right, like,
that'd be interesting.
Especially with time being such a heavy mechanic, and this being the game that starts to treat timeline split, and we don't see one of the splits. We don't see how Link loses.
We don't, that's true.
Right, so imagine we have a sequence where you can, like, maybe not escape Hyrule Castle in time, or literally you just, like, you have to go pull out the Master Sword, and if you don't do it in a certain amount of time, like, you know, you get a game over, or something that
you
triggers...
can canonically, like, play or see the, like, ending that leads to that timeline, for example.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
that's
you get some
one
sort
thing.
of epilogue that, like, shows you. That could be intriguing.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of buy that.
That's one thing I thought with this, because they have to do that, because obviously, you know, opinions are divided, let's say, on the Zelda timeline, but, you know, Nintendo clearly, you know, they care enough to publish it. They added Echoes of Wisdom to it. You know, there is something to it. And Ocarina of Time makes sense in that it's the genesis of the adult and child timeline splits. Moosey, I don't know how kind of nerdy you are when it comes to the Zelda timeline.
I think I'm kind of familiar. I think I read it a while back. I think, like, adult timeline is like Link saves the day, he goes back, but then, like, now that world has no Zelda, so there's no Link, so they're just kind of like, what's happening here? Like, well, that sucks, doesn't it? And obviously, child is when, like, he goes back and enjoys his childhood, blah, blah, blah. And, like, the third one is obviously he loses. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Not enjoys, though.
Enjoys, quote, in quotes. Like, he loses Navi, and then we get Majora's Mask, and the moon kills him, blah, blah, blah.
No, you're exactly right.
That's the brief gist of what I get from a Zelda tourist. That's what I get from it.
You're exactly right. That's the Zelda timeline. That Ocarina of Time shows that, so it's like, you know, that makes perfect sense. But then there's the Downfall timeline branch leading to A Link to the Past that they kind of retroactively added to, like, what if Link fails in Ocarina of Time? We can stick all the 2D games there. They'll fit there, sort of thing. So it kind of, it doesn't really flow, because you don't see that happen in the game unless you die and it just says game over, you restart. The way to do that, honestly, they could obviously Final Fantasy VII remake it with, like, alternate timeline stuff, or just do, like, a Zelda 2 game over screen. So at the end of Zelda 2, famously, you get, you know, the red screen, Ganon laughing, Return of Ganon. Because, like, the whole thing is that if Link dies, enemies use his blood to resurrect Ganon.
But would that happen at any moment? Because what if it happened too prematurely, then you won't feel the impact. I feel like it needs to happen at the final
I don't know.
boss.
I just think have a extensive kind of game over thing where it just shows Ganon.
Should it be like Nier? Like, Nier has a Nier Automata in particular. There's so many funny endings. Like, let's say you have to help all the robots escape, like, a burning forest, and if you just leave, it says, and then everyone died, and it shows the credits. It's just like...
It's kind of funny. Yeah, that's actually interesting.
Yeah, do that.
I think, as you said, I think the Final Fantasy VII, like, remake path could be interesting. In that, like, maybe where the game would normally end, maybe you can, like, play a bit of each split, if that makes sense, leading into the next game. Maybe something like that could be interesting. I think that's probably, like, the best way to go about it, if you ask me. In that, it's obviously the center point of the timeline. I think they should, like, if they were going to reimagine it, leaning in on that, I think would be interesting. And I think it would definitely give I imagine, because you guys said there's a big debate if the timeline's even real, it's sticking to those timeline deniers, it would as well, wouldn't it?
Right. I'd feel so validated if they just kind of, you know, triple down.
Are you a timeline truther, yeah?
Oh, he's a timeline guy. He's the Zelda lore guy. Like, he is the guy.
I'm familiar with your channel. I've seen it before, but I wasn't aware if, like, you just covered the timeline, but you're like, fucking can't stand this. I hate these people. It sucks. Or you're just like, I'm just doing this for the bag. But no, you believe, fair dude. Where do you stand on it as Zelda Master? You like a big timeline guy, or you just like, it's all hokey?
Well, okay, for me, like, because if you're a true fan, you're gonna appreciate it to some degree. But I've always been. Who gives a shit? I don't really care. Every single game is contained in its own legend and is very much its own thing. Why does it matter how they connect to each other? Like, even the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are probably the only 2 games that heavily, and it's mainly the Wind Waker really, that heavily references the Hero of Time and a past
Hero's
hero.
Shade?
Yeah, well, again, the Hero Shade, but you can look at it as, like, just a hero. Like, it being Ocarina of Time Link does nothing to the story or to him as a character.
It adds to it, though. It makes it so much cooler.
It does, but, like, the Hero Shade's the Hero Shade.
I remember. Wasn't the Hero Shade the child Link that never got, like, the plaudits for being the hero?
Yes.
So he kind of, like, that's how it was.
Yeah.
That was. I remember. It's all coming. I probably watched one of your videos like 5 years ago, so now it's all coming back to me. That's probably what it was. So it's all coming back to me. That's what it was. So that's in the Hero Shaders. And of course, in Wind Waker, they reference it by the fact that I think without a Link, they just flooded Hyrule, right? That's kind of how it went.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, so it's all coming back to me now. My knowledge, you guys are giving me like knowledge via osmosis. It's working out.
Okay, so you frequent. You're not just a tourist. You know, you're a visitor. You've
I
dabbled
know
with the
somewhat.
locals.
I watch enough YouTube videos. I watch enough.
Okay. Okay, but okay. So we're talking all about this hypothetical. But do you guys even believe it's real to some degree? Like, is this happening? Are we getting it? Like,
that's the issue.
Right.
I think that's the issue. That's burning the burning question that you two are giving me is that people are already assuming it's real, and it's like, well, it's just some guy
Right?
saying it, and we're all just kind
It's a
of
school
running
rumor.
away with it.
literally.
Yeah. So it's like, obviously, we have to take into account it's like a guy who's trusted, so and so. I'm not too familiar with leak culture. Just my overall stance on leak culture. I think I want to get that out of the way real quick. I'm not a fan of it personally.
Same.
I think it just kind of dilutes the excitement from when like you end up seeing something. I do think we're in unprecedented times, which I think we'll elaborate on as we talk about. But I do think it just in general, I'm just not big on it. It's why like even on my live streams and my content, I just don't really talk about them too often. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys feel
Pretty
about
much
it.
the same on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like because with leaks, it's like I know, like you said, this guy. So Nate the Hate famously, very recently said Ocarina of Time remake is happening. Before that, it was this kind of, it was the rumor that wouldn't die. You know, there was kind of every week there was like a handful, you know, bagfuls of new Ocarina of Time remake videos appearing on YouTube. And Luke and I were talking. It's like, you know, there's never been anything said or even hinted at by this. There was one interview with AJ Aonuma, the director of the Zelda series, where I think they asked him, "Are you going to remake Ocarina of Time?" And I think he said no comment. So
He chuckled.
like that. You know,
Don't he chuckled?
Oh,
the chuckle.
Oh, it's confirmed.
I'm not. I
Oh,
swear
so
to God.
it's
I swear to
bad out
God,
here
there
then,
are
lads. It's
people.
bad out here.
There are people who. I swear there are people who are using that as an argument. I don't get
Yeah.
it. They're like, he
Oh,
laughed.
okay.
That must.
Let me
mean
just say,
so-
like, it could well be true. You know, that there could well be an Ocarina of Time remake in the works that we'll see announced this year. And if there is, like, hell yeah, like I'm so up for that. That'll be amazing. The main thing is just strange is that it is kind of treated as a fact now that this is happening, and we don't know that. Like you know, I assume you two were aware of and kind of following Smash Bros when there was the what was it called, the Grinch leak. Do you remember that? It was like a banner, and it had like a Banjo and Ken, and weirdly a lot of characters that actually turned up in the game, but it was fake.
Funny enough, as a brief sidebar, I actually wasn't aware of the Grinch leak. I did a retrospective where I went back and saw it all, and like I ended up just going, "Oh my god, I could see this is like the perfect leak." It really was. When you put all the pieces together, it's such an amazing leak. So
There was,
I wasn't there at the time, regrettably.
there was
but I'm
layers
sorry
to
about
it, right? Like I mean,
was layers, wasn't
you'll
there?
be more clued in, but there was
so many good layers to it.
was something where like it was like laid over another sheet of paper that had like something that led back to some like a packaging factory or
Yes.
fill me in
when,
on
when people
the details.
analysed it, it all just made sense. That's what made it such a perfect leak. Oh my god, it was such a good leak. Yeah.
That's the thing. So I don't know whether I'm just kind of scarred from that, but like I'll never believe a leak, because obviously, you know, there's a big difference between a rumor and a leak. A leak is obviously the Grinch leak we call a leak because it did seem like an actual leak, which is that something from Nintendo has escaped and it should not have done so. Whereas a rumor is more kind of, oh, this person said this. So there's a big difference between the two, but I'm just hesitant to believe anything until it comes from Nintendo's mouth, because I've been burned before. But saying that, if there is an Ocarina of Time remake in the works, I'm so down for it. My main hold up is just, I don't think you should take anyone's word as gospel, even if they have a very, very good track record, because it might not happen. I don't know, and I don't want to kind of get too excited about something that just is not real.
Yeah, that's something.
I could. You
So I was just gonna say.
I'm gonna wax
No,
lyrical.
I was just gonna
so
say,
you
like,
go ahead.
Ed and I don't touch leaks with a 10-foot pole. Like, we literally stay away. If anything, like, this is kind of our first time talking about Ocarina of Time's potential leak again after like a month or two of not talking about it because there was no need, but again it somehow resurfaced, and it just seems to be once again the talk of the town when like not literally just this guy said it's gonna happen and his sources are trust me bro. Okay, yeah, that's then I gotta believe it now. Like,
yeah. I think there's I think the most annoying bit about leak culture, at least from what I've seen from the outside looking at, bearing in mind I'm just seeing from what I'm seeing. I'm not like making a grandiose statement about anything. Is it feels really annoying in that before it was kind of like this dark and dingy 4chan post, 460p screenshot. It's like, listen, I could have time today, and you're like, what? It's like, hey, it's 4chan. Okay. Like, it feels like they were like, and even like the two sides were like at war, at playful, fun war. But I think now, because you have like so-called trusted leakers like Nate the Hate, whenever he says it, it becomes, even though it's technically a rumor, like obviously he hasn't proven anything, but like a claim, it's technically a rumor. Because he has like a track record, it kind of comes across as more legitimate, which makes it even more annoying to come back. Because when you want to do the normal counterpoint of, remember, remember, it's a guy just saying it. You're just like, yeah, but it's Nate the Hate though. So it feels much more annoying to deal with this, especially when you're a content creator, right? And well, if you're a fan, you can kind of just like, it feels like you can kind of tune out and you might be okay. But when you're a content creator, there's the extra band of annoyingness that comes from, I don't really want to talk about this sort of thing, but like it's the talk of the town. People keep asking me. I don't want to do it. Leave me alone. You're the 17th person to ask me in the last hour. Just let me live in peace, and you just can't. And it feels like a suffering from success thing, since so many people like have to deal with this problem. But I can imagine, like, at my scale, I don't really have to deal with it too much. But I can imagine at your team, just like, did you have Ocarina of Time? It's like, yes, I've been talking about this for years now. Every month there's been an Ocarina of Time link. But except now there's this guy called Nate talking about it. Now it's legitimate now, and I have to pay attention to it. So I imagine it, like, it's not even just like you don't like leaks and you don't want to talk about it, but because it has this air of legitimacy now, anytime you don't want to talk about it, it feels like you're against progress. Why are you ignoring the leaks? You should be talking about them now. And it's like, leave me alone. If it's real, I'll celebrate. Just leave me alone. So I can imagine this extra bar of annoyingness that comes with it now. I don't know how you guys feel, so let me know.
I think it's like exacerbated, especially because we're in this weird drought. I say drought, but I feel like that's exaggerated. But we haven't had a Nintendo Direct, and that's like, you know, with most people who like to make this kind of content and obsess over leaks, they just want to talk about what's coming up. They don't want to talk about what's actually out. It's just give me a trailer to get excited for, because hype culture is all that matters. It's really easy to cash in on that kind of mindset, and I think that is like, I mean, because to me, I think the most baffling part is like, bro, okay, IGN, sure, I don't really give them much credibility, but anymore, at least, you know, but like every single news outlet is addressing this like it's fact. Like, what is it? Is it Nintendo's fault then? Should Nintendo said something? I don't know. Like, why are we doing this?
It's this weird thing, isn't it? It's that, like, the institutions you think that would be like held to a higher standard are kind of playing in our playpen now, and that's because and that's the other thing I was going to mention, but I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to be yapping for 10 minutes. It's a podcast after all. But it comes from this extra thing that I think generally, and I think it's in the general, like, if you're in the somewhat chronically online gaming space, you'll probably trust the content creator more than you trust your IGNs, your GameSpots, right? But with that transfer of power comes this weirdness where, like, this sort of thing can proliferate. So instead of like the IGN, instead of everyone getting their news from the big dogs and, like, if it's legitimate, they'll report on it, instead we get the reverse, where we get Joe Schmo, Nate the Hate, just because he's had like a couple of like swings and homers, we gotta trust him now. So now everyone's kind of in on it. So it's not even just like it's a dark, dingy 4chan leak, but like even IGN is talking about it. And if IGN's talking, it's probably gonna get trending on Twitter. And if it's trending on Twitter, you're bound to see it. So it comes with this extra little veil of annoyingness. And I think you touched upon something that's interesting as well, in that it comes at this point where Nintendo's in a bit of a drought. I'm not feeling it. I've got more games to play now than ever. But when it comes to, like, obviously the big Nintendo IPs, I think I've said this on plenty of times, so anybody watching this from my audience, how do you say this ad nauseum? But if you're a fan who bought the Switch to it for the perceived value you get later instead of buying it for the games you have now, I think in general that's just a really stupid thing to do. I think if you buy a console, you want the games that you're going to play now to be interesting enough for you to buy it. But I think I could easily see someone, there's people in my audience, and even like me to like maybe a small degree, that's like, well, I played DK Bonanza, really love that. Playing Mario Kart World, I really love that. I've been playing Mini Shoot Adventures on the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, love that. Played Bella Bell Park, that's fantastic. I'm currently playing through Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, that's all great. But at the same time, when you buy one of these big consoles, you're hoping for like the Smashes, next Pokemon generation. This is like kind of like, these are the things that like make the system. And of course, it's so annoying to kind of like say, yeah, I do think like maybe we should get some news on this sort of thing. But of course, that kind of conversation is drowned out by the giant hype beast in the corner going, Switch tomorrow? Direct tomorrow? Guys, I heard news. My dog's cousin's granddad said there's a direct tomorrow. So even though, like, yeah, legitimately, I think all of us can say, yeah, they skipped the direct in February. It would make sense to know where Smash is. You get all these mongers just going, yes, we need one yesterday. We need one yesterday. Because I like talking about games. I don't play them. I talk about them. And then move on to next direct. And that's the other thing I hate about these guys as well. Is that they'll talk about them. But Lord knows you'll never see them play.
Right?
So it's like is it even for you at this point? It's multiple levels of annoyingness, partially coming from the fans, partially coming from Nintendo just being tight-lipped for no reason, and it just melts into this like era where I could see a normal fan going, I could kind of use a Smash game right now, but I can't talk about it because everyone's really annoying about it right now. Same with Zelda, same with like see, you know, it's a weird place to be. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's my overall.
Well, that's the problem, is that there is this like kernel of like not truth, but I guess just like relatability now to like the whole Nintendo Direct hype culture, where like even people who aren't kind of always champing at the bit for a new Direct now are thinking it's kind of time for a Direct, right? Like it's been however long since the last one, and like you said, there's all these big hitters that we know they will be working on them. Obviously there's going to be a Smash, but like we haven't seen that, we haven't had that explained to us, sort of thing. So now, because of that, the whole kind of that end of the culture has been kind of, I don't know, given like wind in its sails because of this. Because even like even the average Nintendo fan, little Jimmy with his Switch or whatever, is wondering what the new games are going to be, sort of thing. So yeah, Luke, I think I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say like just to play like Ganon's advocate in that argument, because I do agree. I would love to see, you know, what's cooking up for the next 3D Mario, Smash Bros, whatever it may be. But I think people are looking at the console differently. This is Nintendo's first. I mean, it's bad to make this reference, and I had people upset at me when I made it, but I don't care. It's going from Nintendo DS to 3DS, essentially. It's like we're getting a console that has so much backwards compatibility that can play the entire Switch 1 catalog of games, to where I think Nintendo kind of came into this saying, okay, we're giving you better hardware, now give us time on the game catalog, because we already have a whole back catalog of, you can still play the latest Mario game on the Switch 2. You can still play the latest Zelda game on the Switch 2. Hell, we're even upskilled them if you're willing to pay $20, you know, but Odyssey at least
I think the problem's just made worse by how long development times are now. Like Odyssey was 2017, right? So we're a year off it being 10 years since the last 3D Mario game, where there's never been a gap like that, right? What was Mario Galaxy 2 to Odyssey? That was what, like 8 years? Something like that? I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, it wasn't as long, but essentially, like this is the longest gap. Which again, I
same
think
with
just,
Smash, whatever. It's like
So I think I don't know why you got stick for that. I think that's a perfectly reasonable take. In that, if you have the Switch 2 now, I guarantee there's a bunch of games like that already came out that you've missed. Like for example, I want to play Super Mario RPG at some point because I missed out on that. Thousand Year Door remake, missed out on that as well. So there's definitely a bunch of games I want to go back and play. Which ideally, because like time tends to make games cheaper, I could probably find them cheaper on like Marketplace or CEX or something like that. So I think that's why, and I think this is the other thing. I don't know if you've noticed it, but when you go to any of these YouTubers' channels and you see their comments, even the top comments, like their biggest fans, are going, yeah, but like I'm just kind of enjoying like this game and this game I've been playing. That's the other dissonance that's happening right now. So when you say that, I think a lot of for the average Nintendo fan, it's true, but at the same time, because Nintendo is just so tight-lipped about everything, that unless a game is like a month to 3 months out, they're not going to say anything. Obviously, ignoring the giant Metroid Prime 4 behemoth in the corner, they tend not to do that. It's always like 6 months at most before a game comes out, and so they always just say so tight-lipped. It's annoying, and even when I say that, people can rightfully counter that by saying, well, we know about Duskbloods and Splatoon Raiders, and they haven't said anything about those. So what's the deal with that? And then I'm just like, I'm not the PR guy. I'm just trying to help us calm down, all right? Yeah. We are in unprecedented times here, and Nintendo is just not helping themselves. So it's just frustrating for everyone, really. And and obviously, as with all discourse, the stupidest voices rise to the top. So like, it becomes unbearable when you're on the outside looking in. So it's just a nightmare for everyone, isn't it? Yep. I mean, I can't believe this, lads.
It makes me wonder if what if we're in a new age where Nintendo, let's be real, think about it this way. When Nintendo Directs were a mainstream thing and they were always coming out, that's when social media wasn't as prolific as it is today, and Nintendo didn't have as much of a presence on it. Now Nintendo can get away with just announcing things via a tweet or like a post or something. Hell, they have the Nintendo Today app, and they can just use that. So it's like, technically, we don't need... I mean, Nintendo Directs are so funny to me. Don't get me wrong. I love them. They're probably my favorite thing to look forward to. But what is it? An hour commercial. It's just trailers. But we're so entitled and we want it so bad. It's just so funny to me.
Yeah,
the culture.
yeah. When you think about it, like even just me saying what I said, if you just really think back to it, like how entitled does it sound, right? Nintendo, you owe me some ads once every 4 months. It sounds insane, doesn't it? But like I think that also adds to the other thing that like obviously Nintendo's doing the Nintendo Today app. They're also doing movies now. So I think there's obviously this like big push from them for being more than a game company.
Yeah.
And I think that also kind of adds to this narrative of they skipped the direct, they're doing movie stuff, they're trying to go on their own app, they're trying to essentially like they're trying a different strategy. And it's obviously like the issue is because they're always so tight-lipped about everything, we don't get like the inside on what's happening, you know? Because if they do want to change tacks and say, okay, we're gonna do like a once a year direct, or we're not gonna be, if they just told us things.
But that's the thing, if it
so
ever
much.
gets to the point where you're trying to like rationalize, or worse, like speak for Nintendo and explain their decisions, it's a losing battle, because they have never made any rational moves ever. They just do random stuff. Like everyone always, you know, I'm not the first to say it, but like they are the strangest company ever that is saved by the fact they just make amazing games.
They're the Apple of gaming. That's what I call them. They're the Apple. It's
but
like,
at least Apple makes
no
like
rhyme or
sensible
reason.
decisions.
At least Apple will get out in front of a stage and show you like a laptop stand for like $1,000. You know what I mean? For a car won't even do that. It's just like, I don't know, I'll sleep in tonight, I guess. And I'm just like, mate, you missed the direct, lad. Come on, wake up.
But that's it. But
just don't know what they're doing.
It says something about how tightly they've got us wrapped around their little finger. Like you'd never sit down and like, oh, it's time to watch an hour of Cadbury's adverts or something. Like, you know, it's like,
say that.
But we are.
That's such a core of personality.
We're the consumer, and they've flipped it round. So we'll sit down, and, you know, I'll take the afternoon off work. There's a Nintendo Direct. It's mad, but like, you know, we'll all do it. We'll all sit and watch it all and love it. You know, so
for those who don't know,
but
Cadbury's chocolate in the UK. Well, it's in Egypt too, so I'm aware.
Oh,
I don't
sorry,
feel like I see it in the US. Just saying it for the US viewers.
It was bought by you guys and ruined.
Oh,
it kind of was. That's not even a joke.
Oh, really?
Either.
So wait, there is Cadbury in the US? I feel like I never see it.
No, it was bought by like this is such a.
Oh, I don't know what I'm going into. I don't know what.
No,
it's
like
it's
important on Sequel, okay? Because this is national pride that you guys ruined across the pond, okay? They're talking about the shrinkflation. They changed the formula. It's gone to potty, hasn't it? Hasn't it, Ed? Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, let us ruin our own stuff. We don't need you guys.
Exactly. Thank you. We got to get Starman for that. All right, come on. We got our own people to do that. All right? We don't need you guys doing it. All right. But yeah, it's just a really strange time to be a Nintendo fan. Like on all fronts, really. Which is why I'm so glad, as you said, they have really great games, even in like the library of games from the Switch 1 to go back on. So I think if you're the average gamer, I think you're fine. But I also think at the same time, there's definitely this look of like, when is Smash coming out? Because even my younger brother, who's like absolutely casual gamer, he's a dad now. He doesn't really game that much. He just rages at Rocket League on the weekends every now and again. Even he's like, yo, Musty, is the new Smash game coming out? I'm like, no, not yet. He's like, what's going on with them? It's like, I was like, you tell me, bro. I have no idea. So and even on like a very casual level, there's people are like wondering what's happening.
It's weird, especially with the Switch 2, which it felt like, you know, when it came out, it felt like finally, as a Nintendo fan, they've dropped a console that's kind of on par with the other ones, you know, give or take. Nintendo's not going to be so far behind. You know, when a AAA game comes out on this console, it'll probably come out on Nintendo at the same time. But you can already see they're like slipping in certain ways. Like a game I'm so excited for, a massive Bond fan, 007 First Light. It's just been announced. It's not. No, it's coming out on Switch, but like way later or something. So I probably won't end up buying it on Switch because I'll buy it on PC, play it first, and then. But I mean, you know,
we said this last podcast. Capcom has been on point with their Switch 2 releases. I mean, literally, Pragmata is coming out. What, like tomorrow? I think I cannot wait.
No,
I'm getting it
now.
D1. Yeah. I have to because it's so good.
That game looks really good. Honestly, I'm really interested in that game.
Yeah. And then
you guys gotta let me know how that pans out. If you end up buying it.
No, I'm getting it, playing it. I played Resident Evil 9 on the Switch 2 as well. Beat it. So good.
That was a good port.
You know, if anything, it's unreal how because like I have a Steam Deck as well, and like the Steam Deck doesn't run it as well, and it's way bigger and it has just as bad as battery life. So it's like the fact that I can legitimately play on like a tablet, like generally smaller machine, that being the Switch 2, and I can play a AAA game that is literally a PS5 game just in my hands. It's black magic. It's
really good, and which again makes it all the more annoying in that we're getting, like, I'd say for the most part, obviously 007's unfortunate. Same with, like, I think Bloodborne got delayed. Oh no, Elden Ring as well got delayed as well. Yeah. So there's a bunch of games that are like finding their parity, and ideally it continues that way. So third part, because I said this when the partner showcase happened a couple months back, in that even though partner showcase is obviously markedly less exciting, it's really good that we're going to have good third party support, like from the ground running, because I remember playing the GameCube as a kid. Like, other than like Smash and Mario Kart, I was not really playing much else, and I had like a PS2 for that. Same with the PS3 versus the Wii as well. Same with the Wii versus the PS4. Barely a contest, I know. Yeah. But like, it's really, so the idea of somebody who probably doesn't have the amount of money I do, where I could buy both consoles, to have one console that can do everything is amazing. So we have the third parties, and they seem to be doing decently well for the most part. So where's the direct Nintendo? You see what I mean? It all just comes back to Nintendo. You gotta help a brother out here. Either just drop a trailer or Nintendo do something here.
Technically, we got third-party directs, sorta, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's very, very good. But like, again, I want my Ocarina of Time 3D. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want, man. That's what I want. You know?
No, I get
well,
it.
If we swing it back to the rumor in question, I think they said June, right? For Nintendo Direct, was that part of it?
That's the safest freaking, like.
Yeah, because they tend to do one in like June, July for like the summer slot. E3 slot. Yeah.
And if we don't get that, we got Summer Game Fest. Jeff Keighley will entertain us. Right.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley's wild show, as I like to call it. He's a strange man. He is coming fresh off his death of High Guard. That'll be a fun one to watch.
Yeah. I made sure to play it before it shut down. It's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I played it. Yeah, it was literally the most okay FPS ever. That was fun. That was funny. I just like the narrative that he killed that game. I think it's a very funny narrative, and I think we should always say it every time he talks about that game.
I think it's Fate. I can't. Its Fate would have been the same. It's just it's now well known.
It's really funny that Jeff was like, "This is the best
game
like, I've ever seen, guys. Welcome to High God." I'm just like, come off it, mate. No. You took like a bunch of games and put it in one pot and stirred it around. It was all right, but let's not pretend it. But yeah, that was funny. So I imagine, what's he going to do next? Is that way he's going to announce the 3D Mario, and then that's going to be dead as well?
I don't think Nintendo gives the. I mean, technically, because I always think back to 2017. Obviously, Breath of the Wild won Game Awards, but like also they announced the trailer of the final trailer of the DLC, and then Shadow dropped it that same night. And like that game, that
was cool.
Yeah, that's crazy for the Game Awards. Like for the Game Awards to have something
because
that
of that
heavy,
because of that single show in like 2018 or 2017. Every year for almost a decade now, I've stayed up till you're UK, you understand. It's like till like it ends at like 4 or 5 in the morning every day, every year. I stay up and watch this show that I hate. I hate the Game Awards.
The best part about it is that like I've started doing this thing. I just stream like my normal stream during the Game Awards, and the amount of people that are coming to say, "Musty, praise the Lord, you're streaming, so I don't have to watch the Game Awards." Thank you so much. So like at least they can watch some actual entertainment while Jeff Keighley's wild ride is going on the side there. I'm just like, listen, I'm doing the world a service. Okay?
Yeah. All in the hopes for this trailer that just doesn't exist and will never exist again, most likely, because they also did. It was Breath of the Wild. I think it was 2014 at the Game Awards. They showed off like extensive gameplay of it, before the game was out and whatever. So, and then obviously they've never done anything since. I think maybe was there Joker for Smash was revealed at one of the Game Awards.
But was that the same year? That was the same year. Wait, Smash came out later.
No, that would have been 2018.
So yeah, it would have been
2018. Yeah, if it was.
Yeah, but still, that's what. Yeah, so. Either way, the other part that I wanted to mention about the hate rumor, Star Fox. You a Star Fox fan, Moosty?
Not in the slightest. I'll be honest with you.
You got to get on that. You got to rectify that.
Yeah, Lilac Wars for you. You got to be a Lilac Wars.
Sorry, Lilac Wars over here. Yeah.
Listen. I'm not taking that the N64 level gaslighting. I'm not having that. Okay. You
played 3DS.
And you liked it.
It's
There's a 3DS.
Do what you did with Ocarina of Time. Play the 3D version.
I was on my PlayStation. Okay, you leave me alone, you runks. But I've heard good things about. I've heard like really good things about it. I've heard it also has like alternate paths as well. So like even multiple different like
replay values.
So I've heard good things about it. Yeah, I've heard good things about it, and I've not really been spoiled on it, so it would be a fun game to play at some point. So
Yeah.
I think if one does get announced, I think I might just give the old one a try just to get myself up to speed. But it is one of those like Star Fox. It feels like to me from the outside looking in, Star Fox is like battling with Yoshi for like most mid games in a series at the same time. Because like the original Yoshi's Island, that was really good, and then the S one was New Island was, and then obviously Woolly World famously just is on the Wii U and dead.
Yeah.
And then also as it crafted, it was one of those two just like stuck on that console and just dead for good. They never remade it. So like Yoshi's in rough times. Same with Star Fox as well. You have the Zero game on the Wii U that Miyamoto insisted you keep looking down.
I mean, I'm
so
excited
for
for a storybook or whatever it's. I don't even know the name. That's how excited I am.
Oh,
for it.
the
Yoshi,
magic
the
book
Mysterious
or
Book.
something? Mysterious book.
Mysterious
yeah.
book. Yeah.
It's like the most boring name.
It's so excited that you barely remember
right?
the name.
No,
eh?
well, here's the thing. As someone who grew up playing Yoshi, like I loved Yoshi's Story, Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's New Island, though, I feel like the game, you know what you're in for from the title screen. If you booted up the game, you know exactly. Bro, it's like so off pitch. Dude, it just sounds like it's so bad. I don't know how they were okay with that intro. Like,
yeah. I feel like they just didn't know what the hell they were doing with Yoshi. Like they had like one really good game and they were just like,
I feel like
this guy, man.
It's like their Kirby, even though Kirby is theirs as well, but it's like their super safe space for little kids. Like that is something I could totally give my kid, even when he's like maybe 3 years old and doesn't know what he's doing and keeps falling off and like has infinite lives and just kind of mess around, because it's too easy, those games. And it is a shame, but whatever. Kirby, or rather Yoshi, is a character that is technically in Mario games. He's more of a cameo / side thing, so it's like it's not as important. Technically, I guess Star Fox was a cameo / side thing in the Mario movie.
Fox has now been resigned to that fate as well. He's just a Mario cameo
Did
character.
you see it? Or I'm assuming you had to.
I did see the
film.
film.
Okay, what'd you think?
I did see the film.
Okay.
How long you guys got?
All right. So, you're probably on the same camp as us.
I wasn't that big on it. Okay. I think I made a review on it, so I'll keep it relatively brief. But essentially, it was just kind of like when I watched the first one, I also didn't think it was that crazy good. But like it was more on the big screen, nice pointing out the Easter eggs. I'm like, okay, I had a fun enough time, even if it wasn't anything stellar, right? So for the second one, I'm hoping it's less that and more like sauce. It's got like more substance to it, and it was just more of the same again. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But even then, I think I was told by someone like going in like, mostly comment, it's Nintendo, you know it's not gonna be much of a story thing. I was like, okay, so I went in like, even though I was hoping for a bit more, I lowered my expectations, and even those were shattered.
Yeah,
because
whenever
they did try to do a plot point, it just didn't even make sense. I think the Bowser, like the whole thing with Bowser, I don't know if you want to do spoilers it, but I think the whole thing with Bowser,
you can do
there's no
spoilers,
spoilers, bro. There's no spoilers.
It's true. But like they do this whole character arc with Bowser where it's like, like he's kind of in two minds, like his son who thinks he's a tyrant, and the brothers who like him now. Does that get resolved? Does that bookend?
It's the closest the film came
I'll be
to
honest,
like,
Bowser's my favorite bit.
anything.
Yeah, baby. Bowser Jr.
Bowser and Bowser Jr. were the best characters, like by a country mile.
Okay.
With Bowser, they just like, sorry, what arc? We forgot. And then Bowser Jr. was like cute as hell, so I really enjoyed him. I thought his arc was cool as well. But that was just kind of it. I went in hoping a bit more, and I just didn't get it. So I'm just like, if you enjoy it, then fair enough. But I was hoping for a bit more than just like point at the references again, which weren't even that good. Honestly, people were like going, "Oh my god, it's war," and I'm just like, is that all it takes? Just like a villain from like an old game? Like, come on, guys, we're not even like
just to do deep cuts. The Leonardo DiCaprio. Like,
you again, it's over war. Like, at least if you like introduce like Baroque Monsieur from like Bowser's Inside Story, but like, oh, that's a bit of a deep cut. You know what I mean? He's in like one game. He's got this like weird French little character. I'm like, fair dude.
That'd be great. It'd just be you in an audience full of children going, "Hey!"
I'm surprised. Well, no, I'm surprised.
It's a French guy. Voulez-vous français? And then everyone else would have been like, what are you talking about?
I'll be honest. I was glad to see War. You know, Luis Guzman playing him. You know why though? You know why? It's not the Mario fan in me. It's the Zelda fan. Huh?
Oh my gosh.
Link's Awakening?
They reused his model, War in Link's Awakening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? Because he's in Link's Awakening. Oh, so you're just like, oh my god, it's War from Zelda. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Right. In fact, you could probably convince all the kids it's War from Zelda, and they'd be like, oh, okay, sure.
Sure, yeah, why not? Let's get
we got a Zelda cameo before we seen anything about the Zelda movie.
Yeah, what are your
He seems interesting.
Yeah, how
what
do
are
you
your
feel
opinions
about
on that? Are you optimistic, pessimistic? How are you feeling?
I'm intrigued. I think basically as long as it's not point and reference, I think it's going to be. I don't think they will take that route. I'm hopeful that they will take it to a more interesting route. And yeah, I think I'm more intrigued. I'm always intrigued like when an IP like this tries their first time on the big screen. So I'm always gonna watch it like intrigued, but I'm also curious to see where it goes from there. So I'm gonna watch it, and I'm sure I'm gonna love it. But I'll be curious to see like where do they take it? Like what do they borrow from a lot? From the seams of it, it might be like Breath of the Wild more so. They're gonna be taking it from there. So that's obviously a bit more in my wheelhouse. But it'd be interesting to see like how which direction do they take it? Like how what are they gonna do with Link? Because like Link is a character that famously doesn't talk much. But like I hope they don't like commit to like him just not talking at all. I hope he does talk.
Yeah,
like, I really hope he does. It'd be weird because I think one of the things about Metroid Prime 4 I really didn't like is that you have all these NPCs that will talk at you, and I'm just like, well, can't Samus just like say something? Like I know she's supposed to be like stoic and serious, and maybe like lean into that a bit more.
I feel like
there's this one character called Riga who's like talking about just real quick. There's one character called Riga who's like talking about like his life on like a home planet with his dad, and I'm just like, well, you could have like had maybe Samus like briefly talk about like her parent just for a brief second. You didn't have to get into this like emotional diatribe, but like just like briefly like even just like asking him like a question or two, like I don't know, like just something. It's just awkward seeing this guy just go like, yeah, I used to shoot things with my dad at one time, and then Samus just sitting there like.
Just like grey rocking him, like completely
just, like,
no response.
At least like give her, and she like briefly nods sometimes. I'm just like, just a little bit, but I feel like it's that other M trauma has just like stopped any chance of Samus ever talking, which is just like really sad to me because I feel like Samus could, say things. So I'm hoping that Link in this film also like is a character because obviously in the games it makes in the games it makes sense that he's a blank slate because like it's kind of like a self-insert for you. In games it makes sense to have like a silent-ish protagonist, but like in films I don't think it works as well. Maybe they could pull off those, but like I think they could make him like talk just like a bit, maybe be like a bit short with people, a bit stoic, that sort of thing. I think they just need to make him talk. That's my one like requirement going in, and the rest of it I'm sure I'm gonna have a fun time.
I completely agree. Luke, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just gonna say like in defense of Sam, it's not that important. I'm gonna be like, obviously Other M, it kind of tarnished things completely, but in general, Prime and the OG series,
so I'm
a single word.
I'm a Metroid tourist. What was wrong with Other M?
So it was completely different direction. It was meant to be like I call it like the Final Fantasy 13 of Metroid because it's so.
Final Fantasy, no idea.
Okay.
Keep going with games till I understand.
Essentially,
Skyward Sword?
One thing that Metroid is kind of
maybe Skyward
known
Sword
for is
right. Skyward Sword.
Okay, I know that
example
one.
of Metroid.
Okay, so yeah, I think Skyward Sword works best. But yeah, like one thing that Metroid's obviously known for is like kind of Samus is kind of on her own. She kind of does things on her own. Not much in the way of dialogue. It's just kind of like the gameplay does all the telling. I think the most acclaimed game in the series, which is Metroid Prime 1, does a phenomenal job of that. Like everything that you could figure out in the lore of that game is just via logbooks. Is via your own intuition. Right. A lot of it is just environmental storytelling. It's one of the things I absolutely adore about that game. So going from that to Other M, which is like unskippable cutscenes that insist on telling you a story, and it's like, oh my god, Samus has PTSD from La Ridley? How deep is that? And it's like, well, I feel like you could tell an interesting story involving Samus being orphaned by Ridley without making like these really like ghost like cutting like gags the moment she sees Metroid, like Ridley. It's like a flashback. She's
you don't have to
PTSD.
spell it out.
You don't even like it. I feel like you can do it in a much more interesting way, especially in a series that famously does not really get a lot into Samus's character. I feel like it could be an interesting avenue, but of course Other M kind of tarnished that, and now they're absolutely scared of ever having any sort of dialogue, which is a shame. Which is an avenue that's not really going to be touched in my lifetime, which is unfortunate.
I feel like it's safe though. She's meant to like in every other game besides Other M, she never speaks. By the way, never. Not a single word comes out of her mouth. If anything, the whole idea of the original game was supposed to be like a surprise when she dies and you realize, when you beat the game, because you wouldn't notice.
When you beat the game,
you'd see her in her Zero suit and you're like, oh, that's a girl? Thought that was
a girl.
Right,
that was the big twist.
Yeah, so I think that also kind of plays a factor. But in general, I think like Prime 4 was bad in so many other ways though, because like even with the additional NPCs and everything, that wasn't the issue. It's the Breath of
Desert.
Wildification that is happening with gaming as a whole. That, like, sadly, you know how they say Fortnite, like I say, like Fortnite ruined online games, right? Battle passes.
And Breath of the Wild ruined open
Right,
world games.
it
It's
did.
open world slop, isn't it?
Sadly.
It's all just open world slop, isn't it? It sucks. It's all ruined. Is that what it is?
I'll be honest, it really is. Like, Genshin Impact was bred from that, and it became its own thing. And sure, I'm not gonna knock Genshin Impact for what it is, but like, so many games tried to copy this like freedom-based open world thing that just doesn't meld well. And like Metroid, dude, they're two separate games. Prime 4 is you got these really linear long levels that are in the corners of this giant sandbox. Then you got a giant sandbox that you do nothing in besides find like 5 shrines and collect them.
Yeah. It's they literally took it's the worst of both worlds. Like, you want an open, like, if you do an open area, you want something that's interesting or the intrigue to explore, like that like desire within you to just go, oh, what's that over there? None of that. And then you get to the actual zones and it's just all like corridor. And it's like, some of them have like really interesting visuals and some of them have really good puzzles, but like at the end of the day, like, I don't have to think about anything. I'm just like, okay, I just go forward. And it's like, that's kind of like antithetical to like kind of Metroid. The whole idea is like, you get this giant map and you kind of have to piece together where you need to be, but like there's just none of that. It's just, you got to go from room 1 to 2 to 2 to 3 to 2 to 3
and
to 1.
backtracking felt more organic in the older games, like how you could play older Zelda games as well. Backtracking in a game like this where you're going from one corner of the map to the other to another linear room, and then you just continue like, oh, now I can open up this door because I got the fire blaster, you know. It's like, it just seems very like, for it being a
it just didn't work as well.
for it being a part of the genre Metroidvania, it failed being a true Metroidvania in that sense. It seemed like
the thing that Luke, you told me that's just upset me like nothing else. I still can't quite believe it. Is that you don't get any music in Soul Valley unless you scan an amiibo.
Oh my god! Yeah, that was.
What are we doing?
Again, classic Nintendo, just like, hey, how do I take a game that's already controversial? Let's just angle this gun at my foot. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it?
It's unreal.
Like, I don't know whose idea that was, man. Honestly, and at some point, I just started playing my own. I streamed a bit of it, and then I played the rest on my own. I just started playing my own music. Like, I just started playing my own music in Soul Valley.
I would be watching
a
YouTube video. My brain rot's too high. I'm like, I need some other like stimulant on the side.
Because it's
for me, it's not even like a brain rot high thing. It's like, if you're gonna give me nothing, like just sand with no music, I'm just like,
pull up some Metroid music, play that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, give me something, man.
It's mad. It's like a problem with Amiibo in general, that like when they came out with like Smash back on the Wii U, it was like, and a cool extra thing, you know, you could have it was a bit of a gimmick, but like a custom AI that you save to your Amiibo, and you can train it or whatever. Then like Mario Kart 8, it like unlocked extra outfits for the Miis or whatever. It was just like extra little bonus things. But then it starts creeping more and more into like features that you can imagine they would have put in the main game, but then they've held them back for Amiibo, like Skyward Sword HD. You can go from the surface to the sky freely at the bird statue. No, freely without the bird statues.
Right, so dumb.
But you have to have the Zelda and Loftwing Amiibo, which it just feels so scummy to make you pay like $20 or whatever it is for that feature.
That's so sick. That's such a Nintendo move, bro. Such dorks for that. Yeah, because like, I think, as you said, I think Amiibos work best when it's like, oh, it's something you can put on your shelf, but also it just does this little cool thing in the game, you know. But like, so when they feel like they know they can do that, it just. Yeah, it just makes you roll your eyes. Just like, what is happening here, lads?
Which side of the camp are you guys on then? Because I heard both arguments. There's the, I don't want something really cool locked behind a $20 physical DLC. But then there's also, then why do these $20 physical items exist if I can't get anything interesting out of it? So like, which one would you rather have?
Well, I think they should do little things, and they should be, you know, keep on your shelf. They look cool. You can collect your favorite characters, and they give you a little thing extra in the game. It should never be like a big feature. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
I wasn't.
Good.
I still
That's
have
what Amiibo should be. Little things like that.
You can't see them from here. But I still have the Sage Amiibo box because I can't be bothered to open them because.
Well, I didn't scan my own for paragliders. I don't care about that. But like, I also wouldn't want it to be a big feature.
I didn't mind. I thought Breath of the Wild was like the perfect silver lining. You know, like it gives you something, because like it gives you something so cool, but like you don't need it. There's enough outfits in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I feel
Whereas
like
the ability.
What does it give you, by the way? I have no idea what it gives you.
It gives you like, so like if you use the Ocarina of Time amiibo, like you'll get the Ocarina of Time set. So you can literally dress up as like from Ocarina of Time.
But then there was really cool with they had Wolf Link amiibo in Breath of the Wild. So it obviously it came out with Twilight Princess on the Wii U, and there was an extra dungeon added to Twilight Princess where you had to play as Wolf Link. And basically, however many hearts you had when you complete that dungeon saves to your Wolf Link amiibo. And then you can spawn Wolf Link in Breath of the Wild as a little buddy. He's kind of useless, but it's cool to have. With that amount of hearts from your Twilight Princess save. Which is kind of cool. Because again, it's not essential. Like Skyward Sword, being able to travel from the surface to the sky is such a huge quality of life change. Metroid Prime having music is such a massive thing. This wasn't. This was a little extra thing. You don't need it. It's just a cool thing to do with your amiibo. I think that's the perfect sweet spot. And they've gone a bit too much.
Because like, it's supposed to be like figurine first and then little like gimmick in the game second. That's kind of the best way. So when they flip it, it's just kind of like, well, what's the point? Like, because I'm not really much of a, I don't know if you can tell, I don't really collect much. So I can imagine like if I want to like do it for the gameplay chops, I've got this like figurine just like lying around that's going to collect dust, and I'm just like, I don't really collect these things. Sorry about that, guys. I just somebody else wanted it. I already got what I wanted out of it. So it just doesn't work if they try to put more on it. So I'm hoping they avoid that in the future. But famously unpredictable company, as we've said, eh?
Yeah. One thing I've thought about with the Ocarina of Time remake, obviously we had Ocarina of Time 3D, which was the exact same game, just kind of visually upgraded. And Luke and I have kind of gone back and forth on the art style that went for that. Like, some people say it is kind of based on the Ocarina of Time original like artwork, but for me at least, and a few other people, it kind of feels a little bit too in the cartoony side of things, especially for Ocarina of Time, which is one of the darker Zelda games. I wonder how you two feel about what kind of tone you'd like them to set, if, again, caveat, if this is a real thing. Would you prefer them to kind of go Ocarina of Time 3D, kind of a little bit bright and fairy-like, or something darker? I guess we'll start with you, Moosty. What do you think?
I think it's sorry, bloody hell. I think it's one of those things where when you look back at those N64 games of old, I think because of like those the polygonal graphics, it kind of led to a lot more of your imagination filling in the blanks. So even if a game wasn't supposed to be dark, it always just kind of felt a bit different, you know? It kind of gives that same vibes as like those liminal spaces, just see those harsh polygons, doesn't it? So whenever like you smooth out those graphics, I think inherently you always lose a bit of that like darkness factor to it. But I think it definitely would be interesting if they kind of tried to play into that a bit more, because I do think Zelda's like, well, it's still a series that's like aimed at a younger audience. Obviously most Nintendo games are. I do think it's kind of it's not aimed at the same like demographic as like a Mario, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be, I'd say, a little bit old, just a little bit older than that. So I feel like they could lean into this thing, and I think it'd work out very well, especially considering how beloved, from what I hear, Majora's Mask is. Everyone seems to love that game. Yet to give it a try, unfortunately. Do you want to play it at some point?
There's also a 3DS version, if that's your cup of tea. So.
Should play that. It's a lot easier.
I hear lots of things about which version I should play. I heard lots of
play the 3DS. I would recommend it for newcomers any day, just because it's more digestible. Definitely.
Okay, I've heard the angry people get at me saying you have to play the original story. But yeah, I think leaning more into that, I think would definitely be a nice way to, as we mentioned before, like kind of bridge the gap for like newer Zelda fans who got in via Breath of the Wild. They can see like maybe a bit more of an inside look into like how Zelda used to be. Because that's something I'm always fascinated when it comes to video games as a whole. I'm always fascinated about how series used to be, which is why I always recommend, like, for example, Pokemon, which is more my wheelhouse. I always recommend people playing like the original games or like the Gen 2 or Gen 3 games, because like you get like a really good appreciation for like what's now, or even like see what was back then when you play the older stuff. So I think if they're gonna bring back an older game, I think leaning into its oldness in the best ways possible while like kind of trimming the fat, I think is the best way to go about it. So I think keeping more of those darker tones, I think they'd be better off personally. What do you think, Zelda Master?
I agree 100%. I think like they could not give us a Breath of the Wild cel-shaded look for Ocarina of Time. That would just be...
That would be fun.
I mean, it would be like safe for the new fans because they'd recognize it, but like I feel like it would take away so much of what Ocarina of Time is, because it is a completely different aesthetic and concept when it comes to how you're supposed to interpret its world. You know, again, I don't think Redeads like that can come off as menacing. Same thing with like Dead Hands. I'm thinking of like the creepy things, but also like we've never seen, like, let's be real. We are now in the new next generation era of gaming. We can truly see things photorealistic. Nintendo has never given us a game in this generation. The last thing we got when it came to photorealism was Twilight Princess, and that did not age well whatsoever. So like, I would love to see Nintendo go into this route. Technically, you could argue you see it in, I mean, even Tomodachi Life, they use like freaking. It's a Smash Bros. Concept where they'll use stock photos and then it's an image and you eat it. And so we have seen photorealism. I'm not saying we haven't, but like texture-wise, fidelity-wise, it's never been that level. So it's like. But would Nintendo go that far? I don't know. For me, and I guess, while I do agree with you, Ed, in terms of like Majora's Mask 3D, it doesn't look as good as the original Majora's Mask because it needs to be darker. I actually don't feel that way as strongly with Ocarina of Time. I think what Grezo did with the Ocarina of Time 3D remake is perfect for like interpreting that polygonal look, but making it. It keeps the same charm while still being updated. Like, I genuinely love the way OOT 3D Link looks. He looks really good. He has an anime 90s aesthetic that I felt like they were going for when they made Ocarina of Time the original, but like modernized a little bit. Granted, if there's any Hero of Time, like OOT based Link that I would prefer, it'd be, I feel like Soul Calibur. I know you don't agree too much with me, Ed, there, but like, come on, Soul Calibur 2? I don't know if you played it, Musti, but...
Listen, I know plenty about Soul Calibur 2, trust me.
Bad.
I loved playing Link in that game.
I'm bad. Like, I'm really bad.
Oh, it's so funny. I don't know if you know Smallland, the YouTuber streamer.
I'm familiar,
So he's obviously just cracked at video games. He's just like...
He's a speedrunner, come
Luke
on.
and I went to...
I can't even compare.
We went to a charity event last month, and part of it was a Zelda themed thing. So part of it was a Soul Calibur tournament because Link's in that game.
I'm the only one who played it.
You played a little bit of it.
Yeah,
So you were going on about how you... Yeah, you're the only one that played it, whatever. And we look at the bracket and Luke's against Smallland. And then we see over in the corner. He's never played it before, this guy. Smallland never ever touched the game. But we look over in the corner of the room and there's a guy leaning over Smallland, showing him the Switch, just showing him the buttons.
Yep.
And we're like, this is probably enough. And they sit down in front of the thing. How long did your set last? Like a minute?
Bro, it was literally like, it was just flat. I sat down and it was over.
Oh
like,
my god.
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest
when you
things
see
I've
someone
seen.
getting coached, you're like, yeah.
But,
that's it.
But to be fair,
I'm throwing it down
I was trying to cheese him like I would the bots, where I grab him and throw him off, because Link has a really good grab attack, and like that kept getting me knocked off the edge. So either way, okay. Without pointing that, I don't know what that didn't need to be mentioned. Thanks, Ed.
It's either cheese or be cheese, and unfortunately, you were the brie, man. You were the brie, you were the cheddar, you were the mozzarella that day, unfortunately.
Literally. But yeah, I think Soul Calibur Link, like in terms of the CGI trailer, like they have, or intro they have where Link pulls out the Master Sword, dude, it's so good looking. Like I would love to see even Link like that's like in between the art style of like modern versus old, because you know how like CG, like a lot of CG things, Final Fantasy cutscenes, games that had like pre-rendered assets outside of the video game itself looked really good and still kind of hold up till this day. So like if they were to make that the actual in-game art style, which they totally can now because it's aged quite a bit, looks good, but definitely can be done today in real time, that would be the way to go. Because yeah, I would not want something too realistic. Like I think too realistic is also not good for Ocarina of Time. The only game that should have that, maybe, actually no Zelda game should have that, honestly, not even Twilight Princess. No. Zelda needs that Nintendo charm, needs like only literally Metroid out of any like main IP do I think should go that level of like realism, you know, where, because Samus literally, when you see her reflection, her face looks like what a human face should look like proportion-wise.
Yeah.
You know, Link has giant eyes, ears, their face. Like if you put it next to a real human head, they would not. They look like a Neanderthal or something. Like you would not look like a real.
Like I could picture Samus outside of Greg's, but like Link less so. You know what I mean? If I saw Link, I'd be like,
soon you
what's
will,
happening there,
because literally from the UK, Benjamin, you'll be seeing people look like. I mean, Ed. Oh,
true.
Dude,
yeah,
Ed kind of looks like Link. Technically, the human Link kind of looks like Benjamin.
Is that?
I'll
I need to see like a side by side or something.
It's the big pointy nose, I think. That's what
you do have a Link.
Is that why you got headphones? Is that you got big headphones?
I'm covering my ears. Yeah.
There's extra space in them.
That's it.
Man, that must be a nightmare getting a job in it. You go to an interview, you look good on paper, and then all of a sudden they're just like,
whoa.
You know how English we all are. They're like, he's not going to bring it up, but at the same time,
He'll be
he's
thinking
looking,
about
right?
it.
It's
Yeah.
that'd be really funny. But yeah, I think a super realistic style. I don't think that'd work for Link too much. I think it'd definitely be interesting to see if they could use like the hardware to do a style like somewhat of that ilk, as you said, Zelda Master. I think that'd be an interesting take on it for sure. What about yours, Ed? What do you think they should go?
I think, not to kind of just retread the same ground, but I think I agree that I want to see them flex the Switch 2 a bit, kind of show us what they were going for, kind of with Twilight Princess, but just with the power to make it not just look all muddy and brown like Twilight Princess. Make it like kind of actually, because the thing is, I think you can fall down a pitfall of like trying to aim for photorealism, and then it ends up just looking like the UK, just kind of boring and grey. Whereas
that was the late
Zelda,
2000s era of games. Everything was grey and brown.
Yeah.
But now we kind of come
grey filters of the 2000s. Are we bringing it back with Zelda?
Yeah,
that'd be perfect.
But whereas Zelda, a lot of like the charm of it is that it transports you to this magical kingdom or whatever, and I think it needs to have some vibrancy. But either way, yeah, I'd like to see something less cartoony than maybe the 3D games. Although I do agree that they do look good. I'd like to see them try and go a little bit more realistic, because although, like you say, N64 games all just kind of look a little bit like that because of their polygonal, early 3D games that all have this kind of same little look to them. I still think they were aiming for something, clearly there was a decision made for Ocarina of Time to look like Ocarina of Time and Mario 64 to look like Mario 64. Like, they're aiming for different things. And like, I want to see them lean more into that rather than the other way. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, one thing.
We'll have to wait until see. Nintendo says
Right?
something,
Nintendo
right?
says
It's
it, yeah,
confirmed on it.
But here's the thing, it's all speculation. I just want for both of you guys, yay or nay on this, okay? So this idea we have, this myth, this legend that we're not even certain of an Ocarina of Time remake coming out, and we're having all these high anticipations for what it may be. What if it's literally just the Grezo 3DS version upscaled to the Switch and they call it a day? Would you be
That'll be $80, please.
They'd be ballsy with that $90, mate. $90. He's in the price again. That'd be calamity. We'd be in the remake of calamity, lads. Bloody hell.
I would take
I wouldn't
it.
want that.
I would actually. I mean, I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want it, but I would take it over nothing. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, no, you gotta raise your standards, lad. I'd boycott that. Okay, I'd boycott that. Lower the price, Nintendo. That's for sure. Would you actually buy that, Ed? Would you buy that? If they made one?
No,
Just a
dude,
port.
are you kidding me? Yes. Yeah, without a shadow of a
Yeah.
doubt. Dude, I
I'd
literally
kind
made
of
a joke.
be made to.
Yeah, right?
It'd be against my will.
Right? We're both. I literally made a joke. Like I was telling Ed, I literally made this joke in a video too. So it was like a Nintendo fan so mad that they didn't announce the Zelda 40th anniversary yet. So he's boycotting Nintendo. He's done with Nintendo. Whatever. This character I made up just in the intro of the video, and then I have Nintendo it comes on stage like, we are releasing Oracles of Seasons and Ages for the eShop for $20, parroting the Fire Red Leaf Green thing. But bro, I would buy that still, dude. Ed bought the freaking Fire Red. Ed
You're like
bought
calling
Fire
yourself
Red.
out.
You can't put your foot down, lads. You can't be doing this. You can't be doing this, all right? What happened to customer solidarity, huh? I can't believe this. You guys on a new Zelda game, all the works, all the whistles, and you still buy a port of the 3D remake, huh?
That's it, man. We can complain all we want, but we're all just we're a whipped. We're all under the thumb.
We're just in Nintendo's world, and we're just living it, huh?
Yep.
What do you think? What would you be happy with, like Zelda-wise? Like if there was either a remake of a past game or the direction of the next game? Like real quick, what do you guys think? Where would you be happiest?
I would be happy with either.
Wait, sorry. Was that new? Entirely new game?
Let's assume that, like, for example, we didn't know that Ocarina of Time 3D is coming out. We don't know the fate of like the next Zelda. Would we got one final thing. Here's Eiji Aonuma, and he's like, "Hello, guys."
Yeah.
What would get you like at seat? What would get you going? Like either remake or new game?
It's got to be new game. I think it's inherently just more exciting to do something new.
In what kind of style?
Well, obviously the big thing would be whatever's following Tears of the Kingdom. So I don't want Breath of the Wild 3. I'm sick of this Hyrule. I don't want this same place again. But
new Hyrule, yeah.
Same kind of systems of exploration. New Hyrule. I'd hit the roof. That'd be it.
New world. Wait. When Ed says Hyrule, he means
Breath of the Termina. Let's
I would take that. Take a break from
play
Hyrule.
that.
Link needs to vacation elsewhere. Go somewhere else. Do something.
Go to wherever the island is from Link's
Right.
Awakening. Breath of the Wild or fire
something
that.
like that.
That's
Do
it.
the opposite, like terraform that. Does it put all the same zones as Breath of the Wild? But instead of like bokoblins, it's like those chain chomps and like
Right,
warts and all those like all those like it's not Link's Awakening enemies, you know?
Yeah. No.
I'm sold on that. Yeah.
I think they would
'Cause
have
I think
to.
like a remake is cool, but like it's just always going to be less exciting than whatever's new. Because Ocarina of Time, say this remake does come out, I will absolutely love it. I'll play the crap out of it. I'll make videos on it or whatever. But like, I know the story. I know everything that happens in Ocarina of Time, and obviously they could add to that or whatever. But it's not the same as just this kind of, the frontier of something completely new and like the unknown or whatever. It's just way more exciting.
The vibe of a new Zelda game
definitely.
it's just out of this world.
Yeah.
Usually
Unmatched.
the ideas they come up with it's like once it gets familiar to you and you lose that, charm and kind of the novelty wears off, it doesn't hit the same. But like when Nintendo first announced like this new great idea for Zelda, I mean, again, every single 3D mainline game has kind of given us some glimpse of that. I'm not worried. Like I'm not worried in terms of Zelda's future. It's just more so how long do we have to wait? Because in terms of like when it could be another 5 years from now, we really have no clue. Tears of the Kingdom taking so long and being so much of the same. Again, you could argue COVID, and COVID truly was a factor. Like I think we forget that a lot. Like that did kind of hinder it being released.
It really did stall a lot of game development. Like it almost went to like a pause essentially for like a good 3 years. So.
But in general, video
I think
games
that's
take way
probably the
longer.
worst thing about that was just that it stalled game development. That was the worst thing. COVID.
Yeah, definitely. I can think of it
Right.
more personally.
Except for all everything else that happened.
No, nothing else happened. It was just that I couldn't get I couldn't get a sausage roll from Greg's, nor could I get any video games. Honestly, nightmare all around, eh? But yeah, I think, do you know what, right? Maybe it's just a Pokemon fan of me, because if I'm thinking like remake, right? The Oracle games have always kind of interested me. I've never played them, but they've always I just love this idea that like you play two games that kind of interlink in a certain way.
Yeah,
and then
true.
by like beating one, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but like when you beat one, don't you get like a code to to play the second one, but a different style of playthrough, so that you get like the true something like that. Obviously, they couldn't do it in the modern day, like releasing two of the same game or two different-ish sort of games like Pokemon style. I think Pokemon's the only one that gets away with that. Like two of the same game essentially. I don't think Zelda could pull that off. But like something like that's always intrigues me. Like it's those old video game chops that I just think you could never replicate. That always like get me intrigued. Like how would they pull that off? Could they even pull that off? It'd be intriguing. So that if you're asking me as a Zelda tourist, give me like Oracle Games. Give me Oracle Games 3D. How about
It's
that?
funny.
Forget Ocarina of Time.
I mean,
overrated anyway.
We both want that actually. And I've been saying that for the longest time.
Do you?
Yeah, because after Link's Awakening remake, it just seemed like a given. We were getting the oracles because the same engine. They would use the same engine because it's the same world. It uses most of the same assets. Pretty much everything they made for Link's Awakening Switch remake is essentially can be used for the oracles. And wait, Ed, you've mentioned how Echoes started off early development as an Oracles remake.
No, it's like when Echoes came out, I thought maybe this started as an Oracle's remake because there's so much like Oracle's DNA throughout it. But no, I think that started out as a Link to the Past remake. Unless I'm really wrong on that.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay.
So did A Link Between Worlds, but that's obviously far more obvious.
Wait, Musti, would you be happy with the diorama style of Link's Awakening remake, though? I know a lot of people don't like it because it looks too marshmallow. I mean, compared to, Brilliant Diamond, it's way better.
Again, I've not played Link's Awakening or Echoes of Wisdom, not yet. I do plan to. They seem interesting, but the art style has not been the thing to put me off. I think that looks fine personally, and I think having like another like type of Zelda game that looks like in a different art style, I think it's just like a nice like change of pace. You know, I mean, it's just kind of nice. You know, I think like if for any series, it's just kind of nice when like you have like the higher fidelity, so to speak, ones, and you have like a rather like different novelty kind of style, so to speak. I think both of them can kind of coexist. If you ask me.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
At least from the outside
Technically, we
looking in.
had Toon. I mean, in Smash Bros, we have Toon Link, Young Link. There's different eras of Link. So, I wish, like, if anything, that's why I really miss handhelds, like handhelds, not portable tablet consoles that are hybrids, because when you used to have the pocket-sized handhelds, they had to have lower budget games for those. And I know some people look at it as like, oh, I'd rather just have all main big, full-on home console theatrical releases for the video games. But it's like,
But like there was something about
charm,
having like
right?
a smaller
Right?
ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like even if we ignore like the charm notwithstanding, just having like a smaller ecosystem where like the standards are lower, but you get like it's lower risk but lower reward. Just like having that environment alongside the high risk, high reward ones. I just think just made for it. I think that's probably like the biggest. I was actually having this conversation the other day, which is why I'm intrigued you brought up. Is that like I think that's the one thing that like I miss about handheld gaming. Like the Switch 2, like for all intents and purposes, it's the perfect console. Like dockable and like portable. Like for all intents and purposes, if it was just like a little bit lighter, because I do think it's a little on the heavier side. If that console was, if they do like a revision where it's more the same, just lighter, perfect console, hands down. But yeah, I do miss handheld gaming, and that had like that own little smaller ecosystem where maybe games could try like smaller scale things. Like right now, the only other space you have is the mobile space, and yeah, that's a hellscape.
And it's where
right.
Nintendo.
In the first place, and the first place, just to finish off, I'm the biggest advocate of mobile gaming. Like I think it can be a legitimate form of gaming. It's just a shame that when you look on it, it's just you open it up and it's all gacha and pay to win. I'm like, okay,
Right.
It's unfortunate, really.
But it's
Honestly.
weird how Nintendo almost seemed like they were going to take it seriously for a little bit, and then they just kind of gave up on it. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, Mario Run is not a...
Mario Run's good.
Really?
I like
I'm
that
not a
game.
huge-
No, that's not it. I really like that game. I like. They managed to translate the Mario formula so well to a phone.
Yeah,
and,
to
they
like
just didn't,
one-handed
mix-
as well.
Yes, like people give that game a lot of stick. Honestly, people think a lot. But like, if you really sit down and play it for like the price, I think it costs like £9 as well. So it's not even like super expensive. I think it really is like a fantastic pocket-sized Mario game, and it's a shame that like the mobile ecosystem just doesn't support that sort of thing. Like it's kind of expected to be free to download. I'm not paying a penny. Just stuff my screen full of ads.
For this,
It genuinely is the biggest shit. Like handheld gaming's death is made more sadder by the fact that the other handheld is mobiles, and it seems like you just can't do much with that. Because Mario Run is genuinely a fantastic video game. It really, really is. If it was just like a little bit cheaper, I'd be getting everyone on that. It really would. It really would. It's such a good game.
Is
honestly.
that your favorite Nintendo game?
It's a shame.
From mobile side?
Full time.
Well, it's between Mario Run and basically like
Fire
Fire
Emblem
Emblem
Heroes,
so
you don't have
really a lot of competition
I
going
hate to
on
sound
there.
like a broken record, but for me, Dragalia Lost was like, it was so special to me. Have you played it when it came out? Do you know of it?
I'm not
That's
familiar
sad.
with
So
what
that
it's
was
like.
one of Nintendo's first mobile games as well. Dragalia Lost, if you like give it a cheeky search. And
I'm gonna quickly.
and they took it down. It was collaborative effort by Psy Games. They make like Grand Blue and like all sorts of like, you know, dragon anime style games, and they had this whole thing with Nintendo crossovers. Literally Fire Emblem characters were a part of it. I'm trying to remember what else. I'm pretty sure other Nintendo crossovers were in it. Zelda felt like it was due. Like they could have added Link as a character, as like, you know, but it was very much a gacha game through and through. And I remember I think his name is Eden. I believe the main character name is Eden. I wanted him to be a Smash Bros. Fighter. Like I thought he could fit in the fighter pass because he was, you know, I mean, it would have been more Fire Emblem. It would have been, it's like some blonde-haired swordsman, but still, I feel like it would have been very fitting for that. And it's a shame.
Smash could do with another one of those, I think.
Right?
It was lacking in that.
Oh yeah, no,
department.
we need more blonde swordsmen.
No, definitely, definitely. We need more popular JRPG guys, less Scrimbo Bimbo, the platform scrunker. We need more of those. But like, I'm just having a quick look at Dragalia Lost, and like, ever since it's shutting down, it just kind of disappeared. It's a shame there wasn't like an offline version from what I'm briefly looking at. So it's just kind of like gone to time and just didn't exist.
I'd never heard of it
considering
either, except for
considering the time frame was like 2018, and they're saying it discontinued in 2022. Something in Smash could have been quite interesting for that.
Yeah.
Like it could have been like it taking like Byleth's spot, for example, because like, obviously they tend to do the Fire Emblem thing where they put like the newest Fire Emblem character, or even the rep that's about to, for the game is about to come back. They could have used that slot for Dragalia Lost, maybe the character from that.
Imagine putting an original
I guess-
mobile game character. It's still Nintendo IP in.
I think it could have done like paved the way for like legitimizing mobile as like an actual platform. But again, as I said, it's just all gems and like Candy Crush slop. Unfortunately, so it's sad.
And
it really is.
the biggest insult to injury is not even the fact that these games are shallow. It's the fact that you can lose. Dude, I spent like $500+ on that game because I genuinely was really into it, and I lost. I can't even look at whatever I collected, whatever I did. Not just my money, my time, my memories. Everything's just gone. There is no archive for it. It's just offline. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Money well spent,
right?
I'll say.
No, ever since, and I'll be honest, ever since then, don't play mobile games. Can't. I despise them.
And honestly, I don't blame you for that. It's such a it's such a disposable platform, and it could just be so much more. But listen, I got Jetpack Joyride on that, so that gives me a lot of fun when I'm on the London Underground. So I'll take that. That's
now
what
that is
I
a
got
game.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
that's a game exactly.
That
still does the
doodle jump.
occasional, hey, do you want to buy some gems? But I just go, listen, just
You
let me
can
play
free to
Jetpack
play
Joyride, okay? Leave
if
me
you
alone.
commit. Like, there's a lot of games.
you can
Yeah,
free to
you can
play,
get
yeah.
away with it. Just you have to be patient.
Yeah.
It's for the impulse people. The impulsive people who can't wait out the day or something.
Literally, that's how they get you. It's like again a big shame that like an entire platform of gaming is just reduced to, hey, we're trying to get those impulse buys. We're trying to get those like people that would have been addicted to gambling like in the 70s. We're trying to get like, people that brain
or who are
bug.
too young. Oh, let's get a kid. Yo, kid can't gamble. Let's just have him gamble. Like,
oh yeah, that's the. What I'm saying is I bet I'll see from any of you two in like 5 years. I left my phone unattended and my kid ended up buying a bunch of gems. And listen, every time I used to see like a story of that like once a year, like every year for the longest time, and I'm just like, guys, what are we doing here? Okay, what are we doing here? Look after your phones, goddammit. So that's another thing you guys have to worry about as well.
We'll expect to hear from you and then BBC News if it happens.
Yeah, literally. You'll hear it. It's me you got to worry about. Honestly, all the journals at your door, and I'm at the forefront, just cross-armed, tapping my foot. Ed,
I told you about this.
We told you about this, lad. You got to calm down.
Yeah. But it's a shame. It felt like they were going to go do so much more with it. But yeah, like I was, obviously, I was just so ready for like a Zelda dungeon crawler or something on mobile for Zelda. But like, yeah, just seems they've given up completely.
Who knows? After Zelda movie,
Yeah,
new audience, new normies.
Yeah.
Mobile game.
Oh, when it comes out, maybe. Yeah.
We've got to be careful with those normies. They ruin communities after. You got to be careful.
I'm not
with
worried.
those
Yeah, people said that with Elden Ring and Souls games. It's not. Well, those games are kind of gatekeeping themselves though, being difficult. So I guess it's different.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they do a good job of that. I mentioned that as a joke because like there was somebody who I watched who was a Zelda fan who recently kept like complaining about that sort of thing, that exact thing, where it's like all these noobs from Breath of the Wild are ruining the community. So it's
guys like you, you're ruining it.
Yeah, I'm ruining the place. I'm just
Look at you enjoying Breath of the Wild.
How dare you?
I can't believe this, right? I can't believe it. I'm essentially a born again fan of the series, and it's all my fault.
It's funny though. Ed and I see it as a plus. I'm so glad Breath of the Wild became what it is because it put so many new eyes into it. The bigger the better. Here's the thing. As a fan, the bigger the better. I don't know why fans would want to gatekeep things when it's like it doesn't help you out. And plus, you have no say or involvement in these games. Why do you feel this weird sense of like ownership to something you're just a fan of as well? I never understood entitlement.
I think it comes from this like misplaced sense of like belonging, and I think and maybe to some degree if I'm playing devil's advocate I can understand it, but when you're trying to have that sort of mindset with an IP as big as The Legend of Zelda, it was never really going to work out for you, was it? Because like obviously I'm not going to pretend there isn't something quite unique about being a fan of something that's quite underground. You feel like you've got a hidden gem. It's all kind of people feel that same way about my community as well. And that mostly we can't have you getting larger, okay? We need your chat to be nice and chill. We got a good thing going on it. So, and I won't pretend, there's definitely like a nice allure to like feeling like you know something that not a lot of people do, right? But having that sort of mindset about like one of Nintendo's flagship IPs is just like, I can't help but scratch my head. Especially
It's not
like,
some like grassroots band, is it? That like
exactly. It's Zelda. Do you know what I mean? It's like the marquee like series of a Nintendo outside of like your Mario's basically. So it's absolutely insane. Like the whole idea is just insane to me. So I thought it was quite funny when I saw someone doing exactly that because I'm just like, I love this series now because of Breath of the Wild. I'm only more excited to give more games a try. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but at some point I definitely want to play Majora's Mask. I definitely want to try like the Link's Awakening remake as well. I even got like as a birthday present, my fiance even got me the Zelda Game & Watch thing. I started playing the original Zelda on this. I have no idea where I'm going, but I play a bit of it every night and I'm just wandering around.
You might eventually need to look up where to put bombs. Like it doesn't telegraph stuff.
I just put stuff somewhere and I hope something happens. And I've been having a bit of success with that. So that's what happens when you get new eyes on your series. So shame on me, Shame on me for liking Breath of the Wild. It's interesting.
I mean, that's probably a good segue into if we wrap things up. If you want to, so obviously, thank you so much, Musti, for joining us for this one. Really appreciate your time for joining us. Why don't you take this opportunity to sell yourself, to explain what kind of content you do, where people can find you.
Listen, this is the worst bit. As I said, my fans want to keep me underground, so I'm going
Don't
against
check
their
him
wishes
out.
here.
Don't
But
check him
no,
out.
honestly, thank you, gentlemen, for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Anytime you want to have me on again, you're a resident tourist, by all means. My name's So Musty. I stream on YouTube mostly. I usually just do all sorts of variety things, gaming, reacting to videos, tier lists. So just your garden variety streamer, really. I have multiple socials on there, so just if you ever want to hop in a stream sometime, let me know that the Zeldudes sent you, and I'll be sure to give them a nice kickback.
Okay.
You know, the first pint will be on me, Ed, if I ever come to your neck of the woods, eh?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Brilliant. But yeah, thank you again. And yeah, thank you all for listening, watching, whatever you did. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Peace.
Bye bye.